Hey everyone, welcome to Parable Wednesday. So our parable this week is called The Wise and Foolish Builders. You also might hear this called the parable of the two builders. Same thing, just some different words that are used. So we are in the book of Matthew. And remember, the parables that we are talking about are stories that Jesus would use to teach. So since Jesus is in them, we're in the New Testament. So this is what Jesus told people. He said, "Everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like the wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came and the streams rose and the wind blew and beat against the house, yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell with a great crash." So what Jesus is saying is the people who would hear him teach his stories, and they would listen, and then they would actually do what Jesus told them to do. I know, crazy idea, right? They were strong in life. They were strong in who they were and in their relationship with God. And then he said, but these people over here who hear what I'm teaching and they don't do what I say, they don't listen to what I say, they don't follow what I say, they're just not going to be as sturdy in life. That's why Jesus talked about the house. So I want you to think the three little pigs and the big bad wolf. You heard that story? So like the different materials that the pigs built their homes with, and then the big bad wolf would come and blow. That's kind of like what Jesus is saying here. So is it harder sometimes to do and follow everything that Jesus wants us to do? Yeah. Is it worth it? Of course. Would it be easier when your sister takes your toy to hit her? Yep. Is that what Jesus wants you to do? I really hope you said no, because that's the right answer. Of course not. Jesus does not want you to hit your sister. But it takes more work sometimes to do what Jesus asks us to do. But then when life gets crazy, like right now, in all of this craziness we have going on with COVID, think about this. When you have been listening to Jesus and you're doing what he says, your house is stronger. So right now, your faith is stronger. You can trust in Jesus more than the person who's heard what Jesus is telling them to do but isn't doing it. So this week, really focus on not just listening to the stories of Jesus, but actually doing what Jesus teaches us to do. And now I have your activity for at home this week. Ooh, did you hear that chair make that noise when I slid back? I was not expecting that. Now, so right down here on the steps, we have this really cool looking little structure made by Abby, not by me, because I don't know how to do this. It would have just kept falling over. And so it looks super awesome. She used some cards to build a house of cards. But let's see what happens when I blow on the cards really hard. Those were not sturdy, were they? Not at all. This would be like the foolish builder that Jesus was talking about, who built something that looked really cool, but it wasn't strong. So what your activity at home this week is, use the things around your house. See what you can find that makes the sturdiest, the strongest little house like that you can make, and then let us know what worked. So that is our parable for this week of the two builders, or the wise and foolish builders. I will see you all back here next week for our next Wednesday parable. Bye, everyone.